Ryan Poles is back at it again, making major moves across the roster today, claiming 6 players off of waivers, adding 10 guys to the practice squad so far. What's up, guys? Swift here covering everything Chicago Bears with daily videos. The Chicago Bears added 6 players via waivers today, released 5 guys, added 1 to the IR, and brought 10 players into the practice squad. The biggest name claimed off waivers was last year's first-round pick, offensive lineman Alex Leatherwood. Holy cow. Out of all the guys cut, Alex Leatherwood was by far my favorite. He was awful last year for the Raiders, but is only 23 years old and was the 17th overall pick in last year's first round. It is very surprising to me that Leatherwood got cut this early. I watched tape on him last year going into the draft. I thought he was a guy we could possibly consider if something happened and we didn't get Justin Fields. I thought he needed a lot of work on his technique, but he was a guy who has Pro Bowl potential. He fits Poles' profile as a highly athletic player. He scored a 9.86 on the RAS score. He played left tackle for Alabama. There are some connections with Nick Saban there. I believe, like Tevin Jenkins, he is a guy who could be really good at tackle, but could come inside to guard and be dominant. I don't know what the plan is for him right now. I think he could still be a really good tackle in the NFL, but he could also be the guy that you could put behind Cody Whitehair, let the coaches work on his technique all year, and he has as much potential as anyone on our entire offensive line, including Tevin Jenkins. I love this pickup. He's a better athlete than Bengals left tackle Jonah Williams, and I think he is a guy who could definitely stick around long term and end up being a huge steal by Ryan Poles. Speaking of that, the Raiders have already paid nearly 60% of his entire contract. We got Leatherwood for 3 years and only $5.9 million. Also, we have an option to pick up his 5th year as well. If the coaches can get something out of Alex Leatherwood, this is a huge win. I'm really excited about this move. I understand he was a huge bust for the Raiders, but when he got drafted last year, he needed to work on his technique. The coaches threw him into the fire and didn't do a good enough job fixing his technique. Coaches have to get players ready to play in the NFL. A lot of guys simply aren't ready when they come up. Braxton Jones had a lot of technique issues when we drafted him in April, but I see that the coaching staff has already coached most of those out of them. Coaching does matter in the NFL, and I'm excited to let our coaching staff work with Alex Leatherwood. Also, we signed 5 other guys that are also very intriguing. Defensive tackle Armon Watts, defensive end Kingsley Jonathan, linebacker Sterling Weatherford, defensive back Josh Blackwell, and tight end Trevin Wesco. Most of these guys also fit Poles' athletic profile and scored highly on the RAS as well. I'll get into those guys in just a minute, but we also waived 5 players today as well. So we're saying goodbye to Zachary Thomas, Iris Tonga, Caleb Johnson, and Duke Shelley, and then Tajay Sharp has been added to the IR. Really intriguing to me is N'Keal Harry didn't get added to the IR. Maybe there's some hope he can play soon. Thomas, Shelley, and Johnson were probably 3 of the bottom spots on the roster, so no surprise there really. I definitely expect at least Zachary Thomas back on the practice squad, but possibly all 3. Tonga was unexpected, but he hasn't looked that great this preseason, and I'm not sure how well he fit in this new scheme. It'll be interesting to see if the coaches like him enough to bring him back to the practice squad or not. To replace Tonga, we signed a defensive tackle from Arkansas who played with the Vikings last year, Armon Watts. He started 9 games for Minnesota last year and had 5 sacks with 46 tackles. Judging from the reactions of Vikings fans, most people are pretty shocked that Watts was cut. He was a 1-year starter for Arkansas in college and came into the NFL pretty raw, but he put his best work on tape last year, is only 26 years old and entering his prime. He has good size and length, 6'5", 307 pounds with 33.5-inch arms. He has 3 straight years of solid grades from PFF and is a guy that intrigues me for sure. Next up is defensive end Kingsley Jonathan. He was an undrafted free agent who had 15 career sacks at Syracuse. He's a rookie pass rusher with some potential. And then we have linebacker Sterling Weatherford, another undrafted rookie. He played safety for Miami, Ohio, but has been playing linebacker at the NFL level. He's a guy I watched on tape heading into the draft, and I liked him. He was a popular mock draft selection of mine in the 5th or 6th round. He had a game-winning interception against Ball State last year, and he had a pick in the preseason this year off of Matt Barkley. I like Weatherford, and I think he could be a good fit. Josh Blackwell's another undrafted rookie. He played corner at Duke and ran a 4.33 blazing 40-yard dash. He is very athletic and smooth in coverage. His biggest weakness is tackling and run support. Then our final guy we claimed off waivers was tight end Trevin Wesco. He was a 4th-round pick in 2019 as a tight end fullback hybrid. He caught 6 passes for 87 yards in 3 seasons. This could potentially be trouble for Jake Tongas. Stay tuned. We also signed some guys to the practice squad. Offensive lineman Kellen Deesh, an undrafted rookie who I liked. Lachavius Simmons came back. Darrington Evans comes back. Chase Allen comes back. Quarterback Nathan Peterman comes back. So does Isaiah Coulter, and then Micah Treadway and Sam Kamara as well. And then the guy we all liked, our boy Thomas Graham Jr., also added back to the practice squad, and with Trayvon Coley expected to join as well. Stay tuned. I'll be back later to break down all the moves in more detail. Lastly, I wanted to explain the practice squad really quickly because I had a few people ask in the comments. Each team can add 16 players. Rules have been changed in recent years to where veterans can be added. Each team can add up to 6 veteran players and then 4 more players with less than 2 or fewer seasons. So in total, 6 of the 16 have to have less than 9 games of experience. Other than that, you do have a little bit of flexibility with the veterans. It gives us a ton of options for the practice squad. We've already signed 10 guys, have about 6 spots left. Stay tuned, guys. I'll be back later tonight. And until next time, bear down.